the same road I had the Harley on last video. You can see how the experience is pretty different. As are the speeds. Yeah, one of the benefits of having two very different bikes, same road, different day, different experience, or same day for that fact. How much free time do you have in your hands is more of a question. Wet. Yeah, but on this thing, of course, traffic is so much more annoying. You're always jammed up somebody's trunk to avoid death by mail truck. To be comical, but unfortunate. Ah, the off-road track. It's back. So that's why you gotta reel it in a little bit. Make sure you get plenty of time to stop on these back roads. Of course you can go 30 miles an hour faster, but you know, that sand would not have helped at all. So I'm sick today. That's why I'm out here right now. If anything's gonna boost your spirits, it's gonna be a ride in the sun. It's about 50 degrees in California, Southern California. Maybe 55 tops. Once again, I don't know if I'll make it, but I love you all. Oh, here you go, squirrel. Get out of there. You just made a last-minute decision here. On the Harley, it got to like 70 over here. I'm playing pretty light. Get up towards 100 pretty quick. It's amazing the difference. It's also amazing how stimulating both bikes are in their own way. Gotta love this thing. Do tires really matter? It's gonna get a couple of you guys laughing. Often considered to be one of the most important things on a motorcycle in terms of how it's gonna behave. And you need your correct application, of course. You're talking rain, you're talking track riding, you're talking street riding, 50-50 mix, less, dirt riding, etc. And I don't want to cross the boundary between, oh, is it better to put an off-road tire on a sport bike or a sporty tire on a sport bike? Obviously, we know the answer to that. But I think within reason. Now, if you're on a sport bike, there can be certain choices that people are going to mull over. The biggest concern is usually people wondering how sport-oriented they want to get. You know, they're going to lose something by not getting a Pirelli Supercorsa, or you know, something as close to as slick as they can get that's within legal limits. They're going to lose their street riding edge. And given this is coming from somebody who's, you know, relatively new to riding, relatively unskilled, but I think a lot of people out there are like me. A lot of people out there, they love motorcycling. They go to the track. They like the back roads. They like to go extra legal speeds at times. They like to cruise around. But, you know, the general mix and the general skill is of the average rider, I don't think is that much different. Jump this third here. Especially it's kind of cool. And I get a lot of anxiety, not intense anxiety, but you know what I mean. A lot of concern about choosing the wrong tire and wonder whether or not it would really affect my riding experience, because there can be pretty big cost differences between tires depending on when you buy them, who has overstock, you know, at that time, what's popular at that time, what season is it. So you get a cost issue, and then some places can ship faster than others, and you know, there are different time constraints, and so it can kind of lead you to get a little worked up because there's a few factors that come into play. But ultimately, I've got to be honest, I really don't think it matters. For the average rider, I really don't think it matters. I think your skill level matters, and I think you knowing your tire matters more than the tire itself. I think you knowing how it's going to behave matters much more than the extent it'll limit you in any given environment. You know, for example, between these, you know, Q3s that I'm running now and the Pirelli Diablo Rosso Corsas, yeah, there's certainly differences. When you change the tire, you can certainly feel differences when you ride, and become a little timid because it feels different. You're not sure how much you can trust it, so you slow down. Whenever you switch a tire, I think that would be a pretty common response until you can feel it out, push your speeds a little bit more, and you slowly gauge how it responds while the bike is leaned. And when it's under throttle, check that out. Oranges in a pond. It actually rained in Southern California this past week. Like, really rained. Like, east coast of the US rained. Like, several days with, like, a significant amount of rain. So yes, I think it matters if you're going to switch a tire, get ready to slow down and get used to it. But, you know, I mean, I'm sure if you're on the track, certain tires are going to give you shave a second or two off your lap times, of course, but I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about people that are timing their laps. How many of you are timing your laps out there? Someone watching this video certainly is, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but I truly believe a lot of people, they're not that moved by a second or two. I'm certainly not. I mean, I get my enjoyment in that environment from really opening the bike up, freaking myself out a little bit, and really throwing this thing to the corners at higher speeds. That's what gets me going. Actually coming close to a limit of the tire and challenging the tire. That's where I get my fun on the track, not from any comparison lap times. So ultimately, if you're talking a Dunlop Q3 versus a Bridgestone S21 versus a Pirelli Diablo Rosso 3, Pirelli Diablo Rosso Corsa, Pirelli Super Corsa, and all the way down to the Michelin, what do they call those things? Pilot Road 4s or 3s, I'm not sure what number is out now, which are only meant for the track as much. But, you know, if someone's going to blow my doors off on that tire, on the Michelin tire that's just meant more for mileage, it's meant more for rain, the compound is totally different. Someone is going to smoke me just with extra experience or extra balls, whatever it is. So, what I'm trying to say is don't get tire anxiety unless you're a certain kind of folk that's really gonna suffer in terms of your rankings or your self-confidence if you're a second or two different. And another thing to know, if you switch tires, expect expect a couple of rides of insecurity until you get to know it. And confidence will come. I mean, no one makes a tire nowadays that's going to just hurl you off the bike for no reason. I mean, no one makes a tire that bad. You've got to trust the industry to that extent. But as usual, the message is just enjoy the ride. Don't worry about the bowl. Look at this view, by the way. I really can't look because of this road. You know, speaking of tires, I just put air in these, and they are squirrely as ever. I don't know about you guys, I get a lot more confidence on a softer tire. Just the feel. Over and over again, you get people recommending factory specs. Factory specs. There's a reason why they choose it. And I disagree. You go with what makes you comfortable. If you're more comfortable, you're going to be safer. If you're, whether or not that's measurable in an objective fashion and correct, to me is besides the point. Because the most important thing is you being relaxed on your bike and confident what you do with it. And shaving a couple of pounds off, for me, regardless of the tire, is what feels best. Exploring that avenue. Wow, dude, you're some people are impressively slow. You are one of them. Look at that. Want to take a turn on that stuff? Yeah, watch yourself. So there's mud. I don't know how you guys in the rest of the world deal with the shit. I really don't. I mean, I know that most people aren't riding on dirty, wet canyon roads on a slightly cold day. But for those of you who are, on a regular basis on a motorcycle, I'd pray to the Lord that you prefer. Dear God. Especially being in California, you become so unaccustomed to riding in conditions other than those that are ideal. I mean, look at this. This is dirt. I'm like all freaked out. Look at this. I see water. I almost just had an accident. A urinary accident. I'm gonna pull it together and act unfazed. Then I'll edit this segment out. Hey cows. Even the cows are looking at me like, dude, you're not gonna survive. There's some sand on the road. You're not gonna make it. You just don't have what it takes. I have to agree with the cows. I have to agree with you. A little bit. Ah! I see freedom. I see freedom.